This is the Fox 5 News Block.
It is the first full week of the Daniel Penny manslaughter trial. The former Marine appeared in a New York City courtroom where opening arguments continued. And it's a final countdown until Election Day as the presidential candidates make their final plea to voters in battleground states. Good afternoon, I'm Bianca Peters. Welcome to the News Block. Here's a live look outside right now. Audrey Puente is here with more on the forecast. A beautiful Monday afternoon. Audrey.
Looking pretty good out there. We have a lot of clouds in place. However, it's pretty decent outside. Temperatures not quite as chilly as yesterday and not nearly as breezy as well. Right now we're seeing temperature readings mostly in the 50s. In Central Park, we're reporting 56 degrees at this hour. Same number in Islip and in Bridgeport. Mid-50s for you in White Plains, and we're looking good up in Poughkeepsie where the temperature's at 56. These are comfortable readings. Our normal highs should be in the upper 50s, and we're actually running a little bit warmer than we were at this time yesterday. Temperatures are going to be going up from here. We're going to have numbers that will be above normal for this time of year starting tomorrow. In the meantime, a little bit of a wind coming in off the ocean here from the southeast. It's a little breezy at times, but not quite as chilly as it was yesterday, and that's because we're seeing warmer temperatures as we move through the afternoon here. We will have this cloud deck in place. Not much in the way of rainfall, though. There is a front that's kind of draped off to our north. That's going to help ignite some shower activity across the Great Lakes and into the northern tier of the state. Now, some of those showers could creep as far south as the Hudson Valley, so you could get a sprinkle probably around 5 or 6 o'clock later this afternoon. But most of the raindrops will be falling in and around the capital district of Albany, moving into western Massachusetts. Generally, we'll see lots of clouds in place with some sun breaking through from time to time as we move along through our Monday. And we're watching this cold front that's coming in from the west. It is producing some severe weather across this part of the nation here, but we're not going to tap into that. Out ahead of the front, it's very mild, and our temperatures will be soaring into the 70s for tomorrow. In the meantime, for the rest of the day, we're looking at lots of clouds and temperatures mostly in the 50s. Bianca?
Audrey, thank you so much. Well, today, Harris is spending the day in the battleground state of Pennsylvania, while Trump is taking on several stops in 3 states, including Pennsylvania. Doug Luzader has more on where this race stands as of right now.
Florida is not exactly a swing state, but this is where former President Trump will be on election night for what he hopes will be a victory celebration as the nation braces for election. This morning, rings of new security fencing surround the White House and the U.S. Capitol, put up over the weekend with just hours remaining until Election Day.
They tell me I'm down in Iowa. I don't think so. Our country is a crooked country, okay? It's a crooked country, and we're going to make it straight.
Former President Donald Trump, in his closing arguments, urging voters not to believe the latest polls. An Iowa poll released Saturday showed him down 3 points there. A surprise because Trump won that state in the past 2 presidential campaigns. Is it an outlier?
I hope the fix isn't in. I hope that we're able to take and have an honest, good election, a fair election, and I hope Trump wins it.
Meantime, Vice President Kamala Harris, campaigning in Michigan, worked to assure swing state voters that the 2024 election will be fair.
They are good systems, and the vote of the people will determine the outcome of this election, and everyone must know that their vote is their power to determine the outcome of the election, and their vote will count. It does matter.
But as the early vote count climbs, national polls signal this will be a tight race to the finish.
And there's a lot of independents that I've talked to that are leaning toward Harris. So I feel good. I do feel good about it.
Both candidates will converge, perhaps fittingly, on Pennsylvania today, underscoring just how critical that state may be in this election. In West Palm Beach, Florida, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
Well, authorities are ramping up security measures in Washington, D.C. for election night. Large security fences now up in that area just to help create distance from critical government infrastructure and potential protesters. Intelligence officials have warned of possible foreign influence intervention by Russia and Iran in the form of violent protests. But both countries have denied that they are trying to influence the election. Meanwhile, New York Attorney General Letitia James is reminding New Yorkers about voter safety right here in the Empire State. Voters experiencing problems can contact the Election Protection Hotline. Hotline staffers can help voters troubleshoot and resolve a range of issues that they may encounter when they go to cast their ballot. New Yorkers are protected from voter intimidation, deception, and obstruction under state and federal law. You can call the hotline at 866-390-2992 or submit a complaint online to request assistance. And with early voting over right here in New York, we're getting a closer look at some of the city's early voting stats. The city's Board of Elections says over 1 million people cast their ballots between October 26th and then yesterday. The total represents more than 20% of the Big Apple's active registered voters. Brooklyn led the way with more than 345,000 early votes. And New York State polls open tomorrow from 6 a.m. until 9 p.m. All right, hundreds of tech workers have walked off the job at the New York Times just one day before election. The job action started at midnight. This was after contract talks broke down. Members of the Tech Guild began picketing this morning at 9 a.m. The union is demanding greater job security amid the rise of AI, as well as pay equity for all members. They also accuse management of unfair labor practices, including implementing return to office mandates without bargaining. All right, if you're planning to vote tomorrow, officials want to remind you there is absolutely no electioneering allowed. Fox 5's Jessica Formoso breaks down the do's and don'ts.
Very important, because depending who's in office could affect my rights, especially as a woman. I work in healthcare, so that's a big deal to me, too.
There's a lot on the line here.
According to the New York City Board of Elections, over 1 million votes have already been cast.
Do not wear your favorite candidates' logos or hats or whatnot. You will not be permitted to do so. So just go in there and cast your vote and let your voting do the talking, not on your shirt or a hat or anything else while you're going into the poll site. When you leave and you're beyond the 100-feet line, you can say whatever you want to say.
That includes no signs, pamphlets, nothing that is indicative of supporting a candidate. Those who violate the rules will be escorted out by police.
No one outside trying to tell you who to vote for.
I think it's important, just kind of like knowing that I can stick to what I wanted to vote for and walk in there. I know that I can stick to that decision and not feel like I'm intimidated to vote for anyone else, or know that it's kind of going to be kind of changed in any sort of way.
Rules some voters are not aware of.
I actually didn't until you just asked us a question, so.
I was prepared to wear mine, so I'm glad I did it.
So why have these laws in place? Well, it's quite simple: to ensure a hassle-free voting environment.
The state law prohibits you from electioneering beyond the 100-foot mark. That's the little square, the little triangle you see outside the poll site, and that's to ensure that everybody has a free and fair and safe environment to go in and vote.
On the Upper East Side, I'm Jessica Formoso, Fox 5 News.
And for the very latest on the election, you can stay up to date on the Fox Local app on your phone. You'll be able to watch all of our live newscasts and breaking news from anywhere that you are. All you have to do is just scan the QR code to download the free Fox Local app to your phone. Well, day 2 is underway in the manslaughter trial of Daniel Penny, the Marine veteran accused of putting Jordan Neely in a deadly chokehold on the subway last year. Today, jurors heard from several witnesses who were aboard the subway during the fatal encounter back in May of 2023. Jurors are also expected to view video that prosecutors say show Penny choking Neely for nearly 6 minutes. Lawyers for Penny maintain that he was defending himself from Neely, who they claim was threatening fellow passengers.
Jordan Neely got on the car, was asking for food. He made some threats. It was 30 seconds from the time the subway left one station and pulled into another. Everybody got off that train. There was no threat. But Daniel Penny continued to choke Jordan for an additional 6 minutes.
At the end of the day, this case is about someone who stood up and tried to protect his fellow passengers, who did the right thing and came to the aid of everyone on that subway car.
Penny has pleaded not guilty and faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted of involuntary manslaughter. That trial is expected to last through Thanksgiving. All right, officials worked to put out a brush fire in the Bronx this morning. Take a look at this. Sky Fox was overhead of that fire. The FDNY says just before 8 a.m. they received calls of a brush fire at East 233rd Street and Major Deegan Expressway. One person was taken to the hospital with a minor injury. And Boeing machinists holding a contract vote that could end their 7-week strike today. The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers recommending its members approve their Boeing offer, which would raise pay rates by 38% over 4 years. Workers also would receive ratification and productivity bonuses. However, Boeing did not meet their demand to restore a pension plan that was frozen nearly a decade ago. This walkout has lasted more than 7 weeks. All right, some sad news out of the entertainment world. Legendary music producer Quincy Jones has passed away. The EGOT winner worked with everyone from Frank Sinatra to Michael Jackson. His publicist says he died Sunday night at his home in Los Angeles, surrounded by his family. Jones's accolades also include organizing former President Bill Clinton's inauguration ceremony and overseeing the star-studded charity record, We Are All the World. Jones is set to have received an honorary Academy Award later this month. Quincy was 91. All right, a final check on that forecast. Audrey Puente, how are things looking?
Looking very warm as we move into the next few days, Bianca. There's a warm surge of air just to our west, and that's going to be moving eastward, allowing for us to experience temperatures above average for this time of year. So on Wednesday, we're forecasting a high of about 78 degrees. We could possibly beat the record of 75 that was set back in 2022. In the meantime, for today, we have seasonable temperatures, mostly in the upper 50s to near 60 degrees. Lots of clouds are in place. There's some sun breaking through from time to time. And later on this afternoon, we could get a sprinkle or two well off to the north here, maybe northern Ulster, northern Dutchess counties. That's about it. Tomorrow we'll wake up with lots of clouds across the area, but they will break apart by lunchtime. So we'll break into sunshine. That's also going to help warm things up. Our highs will be near 70 degrees tomorrow, and then we'll be moving into the middle to upper 70s on Wednesdays. I just showed you. Tuesday night looks very quiet here. A couple of clouds lingering across to the east, and overall a dry weather pattern for the next few days too. On Wednesday we'll do it again. We'll have lots of clouds in place again. It will be very warm ahead of this cold front that's approaching from the west, and that's we'll have temperatures near record levels as we go into the middle part of the week. In the meantime, today we're looking at high numbers, mostly in the upper 50s to about 60 degrees right here in the city. Tonight we'll drop back into the 50s and 40s off to the north and west. Election day looks good. No weather problems if you got to get out and vote. The temperature will be about 72 degrees. Wednesday, sunshine with a high of 78. We're back into the 60s by the end of the week, and we could have a chance of rain by Sunday. Bianca?
All right, looking forward to it, Audrey. Thanks so much. Meanwhile, the 2024 New York City Marathon saw two first-time winners. Abdi Nagawi was a first-time winner in the men's race. He also became the first runner from the Netherlands to win the marathon. He's run the races 3 times before and came in third 2 years ago. Meantime, Shayla Shipkiri ran her first New York City Marathon yesterday and won. The winner stopped by Good Day New York this morning just to talk about their amazing accomplishments.
Yesterday was a big day for me. My first major win. I had to dig in a lot.
Everyone knows New York is very high. It's a very tough course. You know, you have to cross 5 bridges, but the crowd was amazing.
Well, this is the 48th year the race has been in all 5 boroughs. This route was originally only in Central Park when it started back in 1970. That first race had only 55 finishers, while more than 50,000 competed this year. Well, that is your news block for now. Bianca Peters, thanks so much for joining us. Tune into the 5 o'clock news on Fox 5 and right here on Fox Local for all the day's news as it develops. We're going to see you back here tomorrow.